All right, guys, welcome back. Today we are going to do some things that I don't know if you've ever seen before, and if you have, then you're probably a part of a few people, right? Yeah, few people, elite stuff, kind of, maybe. Let's check it out. So if you've been staying on top of this build, then you know that we used YJ leaf springs and we pushed the front axle forward about 3 or 4 inches. The problem with that is now my steering linkage, let me show you here, is way back here, which means it's sitting on top of the differential. And what that could mean is when I'm flexing, I could be smashing into that. Plus, it's going to be way up near my oil pan, and it could hit all kinds of stuff in here. So I'm not really sure that I like that where it is. But we have a trick for that. Also, if you guys have been staying on top of this build, you noticed that I added in shock hoops, which weren't in here last time. And I got those from Barnes. They cost me $80.10 using the OnX Elite Program app. The discount that you can get if you're a partner with them. And they look so nice. Man, oh man. All right. This looks just like a normal S10 power steering box, but what this is actually a 2-wheel drive Astrovan box. And while a normal steering box steers this way and goes back and forth, an Astrovan box, the pitman arm actually goes out the front and steers this way. And the reason you can't just put your pitman arm out the front is if you steer to the left, it would steer to the right. So you have to have the correct steering box for the application. But what that's going to allow me to do is to now I don't have to move my steering box forward. Even though it's too far back, I can just bolt this one in and it steers out the front. Now I did have Matt go ahead and port these, and I'll show you guys that video right now.
Alright guys, check it out. Colt sent me home from Moab with this for the S10 build. This is his steering gearbox. If you're not familiar, we take these boxes, actually Matt does here. When you send it to BleepinJeep, it goes to Matt. Not this Matt.
This Matt.
And we'll take it, port it for hydro assist, and send it back to you. Since labor comes out of our budget, I can't have Matt do it.
Not this Matt, that Matt.
It's getting really confusing. Anyway, he's an expert level on doing these gearboxes. So he's going to show me how this is done. We're going to tap this, port it for hydro assist, and send it back to Colt. All right, Matt, without getting your hands dirty, what's the first step here?
So the first step in this process is we'll put on the input shaft. We'll check and see how many turns it goes lock to lock.
Okay, so we're trying to get it centered?
One, we're trying to get it centered so that the output shaft comes out easily.
Okay.
And two, after we reassemble it, we want to make sure that we have the same lock to lock number of turns.
Oh. Okay. One. Uh-oh. Got one and a half.
Got a lock, so now...
So,
yeah.
1, 2, 3. There's 3 total rotations.
Perfect.
So we're trying to put it in the center?
Yep. So we'll go back 1.5.
1.5.
And that's it.
Okay, it's centered.
All right, so we got it centered up. So now we're going to, when I say we, I mean you. Not this Matt, that Matt. You're going to take off the 4 bolts holding on the output shaft, and then tap that out with a dead blow hammer, and then we'll be ready to...
Is that when all those little tiny balls come out?
That's coming. That's like 3 steps from now.
Okay.
But you want to put all the parts in here so that we can keep them from getting dirty or in the way. As you hit that punch with the hammer, we'll see the retaining ring break free. And then...
Ow, don't hit your hand. Okay, it's coming out a little bit.
So now you can use those 2 screwdrivers to continue to... And this thing, we're planning on it being bent and broken by the time we get it out.
It's not bad, huh?
Yeah, they get stuck in there. So...
You need to get you some little pry bars.
Woo! There she goes! So now the ring that retains this this little cap on, we've got that out. So now we can take the clamp off Now we need to mark, I normally mark it across here. So between this and this with the cold chisel, and then between this and this. So what that's doing for us is it's, when we go to put it back together, we'll know that we got it in exactly the same place.
Okay, homemade socket. Now what do I do with this? Put this on here?
Yeah.
Reverse?
Yep, reverse. And then once you start to see it break free, that's all you need to do. So we'll turn it one way or the other and just watch. Whichever way forces the piston that way. Yeah, just do that until it pushes the little cap off the back.
Okay.
And then keep turning it, push the piston all the way out. Alright, that's it. Now we can stand it up slowly and make sure that piston doesn't fully drop.
Okay, pull it out.
Yeah, so if you stand it up and pull it out, it'll catch all the balls in the piston.
Okay, like this.
Yep. Wiggle it a little bit and then piston will go in there. Perfect. So now you use the other homemade adjustable spanner to take it.
Just pop off. Okay. Some paint went down in there.
Yeah, we're gonna clean it and blow it out, so that's okay.
Do I pull that out?
Yeah, so if you take this, you can go down in there and retrieve those. And then we'll go ahead and put them back on that shaft so that we don't get them backwards or lost.
They came off of here. Alright, what do I need to do next here?
So next what you want to do is we want to measure from this face to the bottom of this sealing surface.
Okay.
And then we're going to go from this face all the way to the bottom.
Find the difference.
Find the difference. And then what we're going to use that for is to figure out where to put the hole on the outside. That'll put us approximately in the middle of that cavity. Good.
Colt, if this box doesn't come out, it's not my fault. Matt showed me the wrong way.
I'm definitely blaming a Matt.
Look at this. Even more homemade tools. You guys see that? Nice. Oh, ain't she a beaut?
Those are perfect threads.
Look at that. That's because I do this so often.
So you're going to blow it in this hole and there's a hole on the other side. This one.
Okay.
Then you'll kind of flip back and forth till we get all the stuff out of it.
This hole?
It should be, yeah, it's right there. yeah, just get the threads a nice coating, mostly the bottom 3. And we use this instead of Teflon tape, because if the Teflon tape breaks off, it can damage the power steering pump.
Matt says he always puts new seals in, so we're going to get this the same way. Snap ring, washer, seal. They're the same height, yep. And then washer, washer, seal, seal, like that. Okay, so we're going to lube it up.
And then you'll lube the inner and outer part of that seal before we tap it in.
Okay, spring towards the inside.
Yeah. So there's that. Then you'll put the go ahead and put the washer on it.
Okay.
Tap it down with the dead blow so that everything's in the hole. Snap ring slingshots are over here.
There we go. Safety glasses for this.
Yeah.
Okay. It's a little bit lower.
So the first time it gets pressurized, so the power steering pump puts out like 1400 psi, so it'll move all that stuff
Okay.
and slam it against that, so it'll be okay.
Nice. Move it one more time for good luck.
Yeah.
And these are why you don't want to try this at home. Yeah, that's why you just hire us to do this for you. Matt will take care of all that. Not this Matt, that Matt. Look at the amount of seals in a seal kit for one of these things. That's insane. Slide it back in the hole, he says.
Ever so carefully.
Ever so carefully. Alright, that guy right in there is what holds our balls. And we've got to get those in the right order back in there. So I have to take this out.
So next is your favorite part.
Oh man.
I told you it was 3 steps, but I think it was more than 3. So now we gotta sop up all that nasty fluid that looks like it's been at the bottom of the lake.
It does. Looks like there's water in it.
Make 2 piles of balls.
Okay. 2 piles.
You'll
Separate the balls?
yeah, it's just like Thanksgiving dinner. You gotta have the dark turkey on one side and the light turkey on the other side.
Alright, without sounding dirty, what's the next step?
We gotta put balls in holes.
Okay.
So we
Got
alternate.
our black balls and our white balls.
Yeah. Yeah, so we alternate a dark one and a light one, so they're different sizes. So that allows for a more smoother action on the piston as it goes through the worm gear.
Okay.
So yeah, pick whichever one you want to start with, and then we'll start working them around inside the piston.
And you just drop it in the hole?
So drop it in the left side.
Top hole?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then let me make sure I'm going to tell you the right thing. So then turn that clockwise. Yeah. And then
the next one?
before you put the next one in, you'll take this, put it in the hole, and then turn that backwards a little bit. So that's going to bring the piston back so that we can cheat and just put a bunch of the balls in there without this hole getting way down to where we can't put pulls it.
That sounds really complicated. All right, we'll be back in 3 hours.
All right, so yeah, put the cap on it. Then you'll take a zip tie across the middle of it. And that's just going to be a handle for us to be able to keep it all together when we put it back in the box.
I feel like I'm doing brain surgery. I practiced this as a kid when I was playing the game Operation.
How'd you do?
Terrible.
Don't touch the sides now.
Always killed the guy. So this goes in there.
Yep. You just drop it in the 2 holes.
Okay.
Once it's down all the way, then don't move it yet. We gotta cut that zip tie and put that strap back on it. So now we're ready to roll the piston up and get the middle tooth lined up with the center of the hole. And then bend your little tabs over, and then we're gonna lube the shaft.
Lube the shaft with power steering.
With lube.
That goes through there.
And then you'll wiggle a little bit to line up with the teeth on the piston. Might be stuck on. There we go. So now you might have to wiggle the input shaft to get it to everything to get a happy place to where you can get it all the way in there. There you go.
All right, look at that.
Perfect.
We're getting somewhere. Look at this. We've even got new bolts. Why'd you say we're using these?
So if you look at the new bolts compared to the old bolts,
Because they're more awesomer?
they're more awesomer.
All right.
So the thread engagement on the old bolts isn't as much as a standard bolt. So that's why I replace them to prevent any issues.
They got tiny threads on there.
Yeah. So being an extreme,
An extreme off-road machine for the ultimate adventure.
that's right. We need to restrain the fluid and the power.
Oh, look how strong I am. Okay, it's time to check our handiwork to see if we did it right. Okay, so 1, 2, 3.
Perfect.
Oh, look at that. So now we go 1.5. That's
Yep.
the center. Now we just need to paint it.
And then Colt will be ready to go.
Sweet. Thanks, Matt.
You're welcome.
I did that all by myself. I'm so proud.
No, you did good.
So that is a ported and resealed steering gearbox. And if you aren't familiar, like I said, on the website, BleepinJeep.com, all you got to do is purchase that, and then we'll send you the address where to send everything and the instructions, and the instructions on how to install it and everything that you need to go with that. And this will be the guy right here that does it for you. So he's an engineer. He knows what he's doing.
That's right. So feel free to email with any questions, and we'll get you taken care of.
All right, Colt, there it is, all packed up and headed your way. I should mention it's $22 to ship this thing. I've gotten a lot of questions about that. It fits in a flat rate box. So $22 to ship it to us. We'll ship it back to you at no charge. And yeah, headed your way, Colt.
Before I unbolt that steering box, I got these lines in my way, and these are not power steering lines. These are oil lines for an oil filter. The reason the oil filter on an S10's up here is because you couldn't change it down there with the independent suspension in the way. Now that we don't have that in the way, we can go ahead and change this out and put a regular oil filter back in here. The problem is that an oil filter won't just thread in right there. When you take that off, it's just going to be empty. Oh, that's in a horrible spot to catch anything. Let's see if I can do it maybe there. Oh man, I haven't had that off in a while. Oh. All right, that would have been impossible without a wrench in a regular situation. Dos Bolto. I haven't made a mess yet, but I haven't got it off there either. Oh yeah, there's the mess. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Look at that thing. Just been leaking oil. Ugh. This little fancy thing right here will thread into the block, and then we can put an oil filter back on it. And this is actually a $9 part foreign Astrovan that I got off of eBay. Part number 14081-300. Another little S10 trick of the day, thanks to the Astrovan. So I did go ahead and go to the salvage yard and pulled one of these out just to make sure that it was the right one. They literally gave it to me. After pulling this out, they said I didn't even have to pay for it because I didn't want to make sure that what one I ordered, so you guys would know if you just wanted to order one, would be the same, and they're exactly the same. So we can go ahead and thread this in, and then it takes the very same stock S10 oil filter just now down there, which is a 51036 and a Wix number. We'll be good to go. So it just takes a 10mm Allen. So I hope you guys can see this okay, but it just goes in right there. That easy. Now that we got the oil filter out of the way, we can go ahead and get this thing out of here so we can take the steering box off. I don't know why it's here, but I don't want it. So here's the original steering box. It steers out of the back. So when you turn right, it turns right. Here's the new steering box. It steers out of the front. So when you turn right, if you had the pitman arm going the same way, it would actually steer left. But I went ahead and checked it. The one thing I found that's different, the bolt pattern, everything, like the distance between all these is all the same. But the one thing that's different is the flat spot is up here on this one, and it's on the bottom side of the Astrovan, which means I'm going to have to pull the shaft out and flip it 180, or drill the bolts out for the rag joint and flip it 180 for it to line up for my steering wheel to still stay centered. So the flat spot, you can see the flat spot here. I'm just going to 180 this thing and put it back in, and now the flat spot's on the bottom. Simple enough. All right, so the box is in. I'm waiting on a few parts for this thing, but I have this thing right here. And if you guys remember, I had that hose I had to change out. Well, I went ahead and got all new H-pop hoses for this thing. So I got all my new high pressure hoses. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this thing off, fix that. All right then, moment of truth. I got everything hooked up, everything's back together. So what you guys see here is a Method Racing 300 series wheel. And the reason I chose this wheel is for a couple of reasons. Number one, it has a thicker bead here, so it's going to hold up a little bit stronger. Secondly, it's not an actual bead lock, so it's 100% DOT approved. Also, the reason I chose this is they've changed their game around. They have what they call the bead grip, where you can get it with the ridges, and they also have bead locks, so you can actually get that are legit bead locks. But the reason I chose this wheel is because this is probably the wheel that you have at home. With the OnX Elite discount, a set of 4 of these wheels is normally $1,568. I got this wheel at a 25% discount with the Elite membership. So if you have an OnX Elite membership, you can get 25% off. So that's almost $400 in savings I got on these wheels that I'm going to be putting on the S10. And I'm going to be able to paint them the way I want to paint them to kind of match the truck a little bit. And the way I'm going to do that is with this Duplicolor paint match paint. So basically I got the paint that matches this truck. Now I got to remember that this truck is faded. It's been in the sun for 30 plus years. So I'm going to have to take this, I'm going to paint the wheels, but then I'm probably going to do a wet sand and kind of give it a patinaed wheel look. We'll see how it looks when I paint it, but I'm going to show you guys how to do this and to really make your wheels pop. Welcome to Bleepin' Colt's paint booth. So I want to paint the wheel, but I do want to tape off my bead look that goes around here. I want to keep it black. So I know I wasn't going to be able to get the powder coat off, but I used this paint remover and a Brillo pad and just gave it a nice little scuffing before getting some Dawn dish soap and a clean rag to get it clean. The nice thing about doing your wheels with spray paint is if you ever did scuff them up or you did lose chips or paint fell off or anything like that, it's a really cheap, easy fix to just paint and do a touch-up on it. If you guys remember the Dodge Ram that we did, that Duplicolor paint held up so well on that thing and we just abused it. I couldn't help but use it on this S10, knowing that my paint booth once again is outside. Originally, I think I was gonna try to like add a little silver and make it really match the truck, but I really like that look. It just pops. And I think I'm gonna keep it just like that. So if you guys are looking to color match your rig or color match a part, maybe Duplicolor is where it's at. You can get these at pretty much any of your local auto parts stores. Look at this. So I sprayed just a little bit inside the fender well, and you can see how well, I mean, it's shinier because the fender well is dirty, but you can see how well that just matched that original paint. And that's just overspray in there. And in case you're wondering, it only took 1 can to spray those wheels. So, and they look almost anodized, don't they? It's just amazing. So I'm super stoked. Thanks, Duplicolor. Now, here's my next trick that you guys may not know about. This is an old school trick that's kind of been forgotten because of bead locks, and now you got bead grips and other things. But if you're a guy like me and you have a regular wheel with this, just a regular mounted wheel, what you can do is you get yourself some Gorilla Tape and you tape up these beads 3 wraps. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep this bead from popping off. So I'll still be able to run low air pressure with my regular wheels and nobody's going to know the difference because they're going to think that I have bead locks because I'm going to be able to run 6 pounds of air and it's going to stay on. So you do it on both sides here, inner and outer bead, and then once you seat them up, they stay good. I've done this before. This is a really good trick. You know, some people may say they like to do 4 wraps or 5 wraps, but I found that 3 wraps seems to be about perfect for me because you get over 3 wraps and you may have an extremely hard time pulling these tires off if you ever want to change your tires out. So I like to just do 3 wraps and call it good. Now this was a no-brainer for me. I've been running Patagonia Milestar tires for a while now, and I've had really good luck with them on road and off, both in my Samurai buggies and in my Cherokee. And this was just a simple, I'm gonna run these in a 40. And instead of having to hunt down used tires that are gonna cost me $1,000 or so, I got 4 of these for $400 a piece. And on Northridge, when you spend over $1,000, you get a $100 rebate. I got these tires for $1,500 shipped to my door. Now I got this hammer from Lowe's a while back, and I like using it for mounting up tires because if I hit the wheel, I don't damage the wheel up. So it's kind of got a little bit of a harder side and a little bit of a softer rubber here, but it doesn't really matter for me as long as it's softer than that. Second part, I like to use the Harbor Freight spoon. Oh, don't ding up your wheel. Second part, I like to use the Harbor Freight spoons. There we go. Now, one of the things to remember that we have that taped up, it's going to be a louder than usual bang when that bead seats. Now I just got 3 more to do. Oh yeah. So it's a new day. I spent yesterday doing our scientifically proven tape method on the wheels and getting the tires mounted up. And now I've got to head into the city because I got to go to the salvage yard and get a pitman arm from a Wagoneer. Nothing like springtime in South Dakota. You think it would be the afternoon by the way the sky looks, but it's actually 10 a.m. Pink. Well, I got back to the truck just in time. I'm already wet, and I got our pitman arm, got it out of here, out of Aggressive Auto here in Rapid City, and now I can go put it in. I just got to drive back home through that hailstorm. Yay. Well, I just got back home, and my daughter called. Her car's broke down in Custer State Park, so I'm gonna have to go get her. Let's take the JK. So I'm out here in the state park with my wife, and we're going to pick up our daughter. Our kid's car died, and they said it's a battery. So which I'm assuming means the alternator's probably no good. They lost power, and so the alternator probably died. That car doesn't tell you that it doesn't have a volt gauge in it at all, not even on the menu screen on her little Chevy. So what I did is I grabbed 2 batteries. Hey, there's a buffalo.
It's a donka.
I squirrel sometimes. So there's 2, I grabbed 2 good batteries that I got, 2 big old batteries that I got that both had 13 volts on them. And I checked them, and I brought my little volt gauge too. And so what I'm going to try to do is put 1 battery in the car and drive the car with no heater on, no lights on, no wipers on, try to keep everything off, no radio, no nothing, and see how far we can get. I'm hoping that that can get us back into Custer. If not, if it goes a good ways and before it dies, if it does die, but I feel like I can make it the rest of the way, I brought 2 batteries so I can swap in the other one. If it doesn't go very far, then we brought the tow strap and we will tow it back into town. It's a prairie speed goat. Broke down Billy. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, 9.5 voltages. Bad alternator.
I brought snacks.
Kayla definitely wants some.
Those are for you. Those are for Kayla. And crackers. Favorite
Right.
crackers.
These are my favorite.
They are now.
Okay. Ugh. This is Jeep. It'll fit. Fit-ish.
I'll be able to close the hood.
Maybe I can put it this way. There we go. Alright, let's see if this hood will shut with this higher battery on it.
Oh,
The latch is at least down. I just won't go too fast. The radio, no heat. Turn off the headlights. Auto lights off. There we go. All right. And we're gonna try to get as far as we can get. There's nothing in this menu screen that gives you your volts. Battery light just came on. We'll see how far we can get. All right, we made it back. So the battery held up. Just didn't have anything running. Turned off the auto headlights and everything. Now I'm gonna charge the battery and then find an alternator. I had a lot more I was planning on doing, but I got sidetracked, had to fix the car, now I gotta fix it. So I gotta find an alternator and a few other things to go ahead and get that car fixed for my daughter. So please make sure you go out and vote for us, guys. Get on the OnX app. You can vote every single day. We really need those votes. We are behind, and I would really like to get up ahead so that we can go, because the winner gets to be the official OnX vehicle. And I think I'm gonna call this video right here, and I will see you guys next time. If you guys like this video, check these out. Bye-bye.
Oh, so pretty.